Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Rockwood. This is their part number R101LPB 630. This is a door protector bar. You don't see these often, but when you do, you know that there's some heavy traffic going through the opening, is what this is for. Rockwood makes a few varieties of this. Varieties in the sense that they're meant to accommodate different applications. So before we get into those different varieties and where and why you would use it, let's just take some basic dimensional properties. Overall projection looks like it's about 3 3/8. The mounting pad height, about 2 inch. The width, about 1.5 inches. Its overall length appears to be about 13 5/8. The width of the bar, or the height of the bar itself, 1.5 inches. This is their heavy-duty version in the sense that it's, look, I think they might call it, well, I don't know what they call it, but my tape measure is telling me about 5/16 of an inch. Weighs 2.88 pounds, at least it does with its fastener package. You'll through bolt that through the door. It's going to go right into this tapped hole here, and the tapped hole that's here. This is 32D or 630. That means two things. It means it's made of stainless steel and that it is in a brushed finish. Okay. Now, let's talk about where you're going to use this item. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Where you're going to use this item is going to be in an application where you want to be sure that you're driving your traffic off and away from the hardware that's attached to the door. Generally, this type of bar is going to be mounted below your operating trim. This has, as we had said earlier, its total projection. Okay, the factory says it's 3 1/4. You've certainly got to order this such that your projection is not going to encroach out past that point. So, depending on where you place this on the door, okay, where in relationship to the locking hardware, you want to make sure that at no time would that 3 1/4 ever prove to be an insufficient projection, is the bottom line. And where you're going to use it in the application is, and you know, a building that I lived in for a couple of years, you know, very early in my life. 40-story building in Chicago, condo building. Down in the basement levels where the access to the garage is, where the washer and dryer machines are. You know, the laundry area of the common portion of the building. Very narrow hallway. Building built in about 1969. Very narrow hallway. Well, 2 elevator towers in the building. Well, near those elevator towers were the garbage chutes. So your garbage would go in and take the long plunge down to the dumpsters down below. Well, twice a week, the maintenance crew, the engineer, the custodian, comes through that long corridor from one end of the building, has to come all the way through the first tower, back to the near tower, collect all the garbage. But what he's doing is he's navigating through this very narrow hallway with like a 2.5-yard dumpster. Block is chipped everywhere. Frames are dented. Locks are destroyed. Doors are dented, torn open. That's the perfect example where you want to use a bar like this. They're reasonably inexpensive, okay, this sort of material, and well worth their weight in stainless, in this instance, when it comes to protecting that hardware. In a commercial application, it's unlikely that you're going to have a $30 residential lock from the local home improvement store. You're probably going to have a $400 lock on there, where the trim alone is $150 that you're trying to protect. And that's really where this stuff comes in. Generally, the people that are coming in and out with the cart or whatever it is, the dumpster in that case, they're not the people who have to budget to purchase the hardware as replacements. And while the hardware can be replaced, the damage to the wall and the cement block in that scenario was far more difficult to mitigate. green glazed block from the very late 60s. All they're doing is patching it with mortar. It looks awful. It's all still there. I'd been in the building a couple of years ago, talking about nearly a 25-year spread, more than that in time. So that's where you're going to use it. Let's switch to the screen view now, and let's take a closer look at the supporting information. And by the way, this flathead machine bolt is Rockwood's Type 1 mount. Type 1. They have different numbers for their mounting types. Type 1 is what you'd probably use on this exclusively, although you could use a Type 1 HD, maybe. It's a greater diameter. That's 1/4 HD would be a 5/16. What I'm driving at is if your door thickness is not 1 3/4, let us know in the comment field so the length of that bolt can be adjusted. There's no reason for you to be out around looking for 1/4 bolts that are, 2.5 inch long because your door ended up being thicker for whatever reason. Let's switch to the screen view now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here is the item that we are looking at. Let's first take a look at some images that we have posted down below. There's the packaging, or the box, or the label. The contents. Side view. Well, actually it wouldn't be a side view, it would be a top view, or maybe a bottom view. That's from the end of the latch side of the door. The hinge side of the door, looking at it. Elevation perspective. Its packaging. A couple additional photographs. The underside of the unit. And then, of course, those two bolts that we have there as well. Okay, now let's figure out where we're going to use this along with its other products. First, the extended description: trim protector bar, stainless steel, satin. Center to center is 12 inch. I did not measure that. Let's double check. Indeed, the center to center of the screw holes is 12 inch. It may not be 12.000, but it's 12 inch. They say the size is 3/8 by 1.5 inches. Looked like it was a little shy on 3/8, and my caliper says 0.373, so yes, 3/8 basically. 0.373. 1/4 through bolts, 2 1/4 is the right length for an 1 3/4 thick door, so use that as a guide. You can cut it down if you needed to, if your door is a little thinner for whatever reason. Advise of door thicknesses other than 1 3/4. Custom sizes are available. That should be the tagline of Rockwood. In my experience, they are extremely accommodating when it comes to special requests. I have had them make lots of items for me that were off the menu, so to speak. And there you go. Now, by the time you're seeing this video, we'll have the reference to reinforcing bar removed. This model does not include a reinforcing bar, but I'll show you which one is. So let's do that now. The product brochure link is here. This is an overview of where you're going to use these. So I've described it verbally, and I'll leave the rest up to you to discover where the factory indicates this material is to be used. Different types of applications for different types of hardware. And we're going to scroll down to where we can find our R101LPB trim protector bars. Gives you the size. The 102 will include the reinforcing bar. That would go on the opposite side of the door should you need to have an accommodation made for what you are bolting the entire unit down to. You wouldn't want to install this on a very light gauge door and severely tighten the screws. You'll basically draw, dimple, or dent the door in. So this reinforcing bar will help spread those forces out. Okay. They have the lever handle style that's here. And the difference with that is, if you had lever trim, your lever trim is going to violate or encroach into an unprotected area. Whereas over here, because of that 4-inch plateau, the point is that you're retaining your lever trim better because that lever is going to be quite horizontal, and you're creating a horizontal space for that there. Okay. Adding on to that is a version with a 6-inch flattened area. Exit device models are here as well. They'll get mounted over the end cap, and it's indeed the end cap that is likely the most common replacement part because of this exact reason. Carts come through and the end caps just get punished. Sometimes they're usually plastic. Metal ones are sometimes available, and certain manufacturers will offer a metal version of the end cap when you're having this exact type of problem. Back to the beginning of the catalog will be more utilitarian items that are meant for standard types of locks. Augmenting your installations, as you can see here as well. Okay, you might have an application where you're still making unintentional contact. I might say that you might consider something like the SD1230, or well, the thicker one. That SD is the standard duty. I would consider the something thicker when you're going with an exit device where you're going to protect the end of the exit device. I might take one of these U-shaped styles, and I don't see a thicker version of these. They're all 3/16, which may be adequate for your application. I thought there was an HD version of those. And I might augment the installation. I might put my exit device type here, that I might add one of these because the head case is going to be in the way at some point. If there's a closer on the door, you're going to want to make sure that you're not ever making contact with this material. Now, having said that, I don't see indication here where this material is fire rated. So to be technical about the matter, this would not be permissible for use on a fire rated door. Not to be technical, it's not technical in the sense that it is not permissible for use on a fire door. It's not. Some vertical rod protectors here as well. What we see. Now, there is a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page. From there, you can pull up not only all of the Rockwood products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. I would recommend a dive into that catalog if this product or other trim and auxiliary products are what you are looking for. Rockwood also has their architectural door pull catalog here. That's 100+ pages of practically every variant on a door pull that you can think of. Different base materials. This picture shows wood, it shows leather, it shows rubber, it shows architectural base materials as well. The leather work is quite exquisite. I wish I sold more of it. It's dreadfully expensive because it's hand created out of very premium pieces of leather. Let's wrap up this video now on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. In conclusion, we do sell these occasionally, enough to be pretty familiar with where and how they're used. As I'd said earlier, while they're not inexpensive, they're a lot less expensive than what you're protecting, is just simply the bottom line. If you're going to go slapping these onto doors in hospitals or occupancies that are being inspected, you're certainly going to want to investigate the fire-rated issue. They're not to be installed on anything that's not fire-rated. They're not listed or labeled for use on fire doors. They weren't tested that way. It certainly represents an additional fuel load. They don't know how the door is going to behave. While it weighs 3 pounds, you slap a couple of these onto the door, and now you've got a 7-8 pound change in the total weight of the door. Other factors might need to change. And I said hospital because they're an occupancy that is being inspected annually from certified fire door assembly inspectors. Well, you don't have to be certified to do it, to inspect it. But someone who knows this hardware would likely call that out and say, that piece of hardware, I need to be sure that it's fire rated, and then likely find that it's not. So be mindful. You're going to want to put these on doors that are not fire rated. The reason I'm bringing it up is every time I've seen these installed, they're in applications where there are fire doors. You've got, in that application I had said earlier, long corridor, doors on either side of this long corridor. That corridor is a path of egress, though all of those doors were fire rated on there, which may explain why they didn't have any of these on the doors. It doesn't explain it, But technically, it certainly explains it. Any questions on the Rockwood R101LPB 630 trim protector bar or any other Rockwood product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.